how to go from the fun girl to the main girl. Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to be talking about how you can go from being just the fun girl that he likes to spend time with to his main girl. I'm going to start with things that you can do so that you don't get put in the fun girl box to start with. And then I'm going to talk about, what happens if you're in the fun girl box already? How do you get out of that box? So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Before I do that, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Doing so really helps the algorithm. My content here on YouTube is very, very much suppressed. And by liking the videos, if you find them helpful, sharing them with your friends, and subscribing to the channel tells the algorithm that people want this content and helps override the censorship. Hey everybody, I am Kevin Anthony, a certified sexologist, and for over a decade I have been helping men, women, and couples identify the patterns and behaviors that are sabotaging their relationships and sex life. I have the unique ability to hear what you say and know what you need when you need help to have the relationship and sex life you know is possible but haven't been able to figure out. I will help you have the relationship of your dreams and the best sex of your life. All right. So, first of all, what do we mean by the fun girl? Well, the fun girl is potentially the friends with benefits or the F-buddy, right? The girl that, shows up for a good time, but doesn't get the deeper, more emotional connection or commitment. The fun girl can be the rebound girl. The girl that does all the things that the ex wouldn't do. And the fun girl could also be sort of the friend zone, the one to get together and go out and do things with, but not the one to ever really commit to in any deeper way. So how do we avoid becoming the fun girl? Well, number one, you want to choose your man wisely. So that means making better choices from the start. If you know that a man has just gotten out of another relationship, you might want to give it some time before you jump in with him because you don't want to end up as the rebound fun girl. If you know that this man has a history of bouncing from one fun girl to the next fun girl and never committing, you might want to think twice about getting involved in a relationship with him. Now I know what you're thinking. This time it's different. I'm not like all those other girls. He'll finally commit to me. No, none of that is likely true, to be honest. If you see that pattern right from the start, you should pay attention to it. Next don't have sex right away. People often ask me, especially women, what's the right time to have sex with a man? And my answer to that is, well, it depends. You will hear a lot of advice out there on the internet that says you need to wait X amount of time. You will see other things that say, after X amount of dates. I don't think either of those are a great measure. And the reason why is this. What I see is, they'll say, you shouldn't have sex with him for at least the first, 3 months or whatever it is. And then, I'm speaking with somebody and I say, okay, so you've been dating for 3 months. How many dates have you gone on so far? And they're like, 4. I'm like, 4? You've been on 4 dates with this person over the course of 3 months, which means big gaps of time in between. How much do you really know about this person? All right, so time isn't necessarily the best measurement, at least as far as how much time has elapsed. How much time you spend together, that's different. But then that comes to, how many dates have you been on, right? So sometimes people say, well, we've been on like 5 dates already. Okay. What was the spread on those dates? Did you suddenly jump in and have this whirlwind week where you saw each other every single day for 5 days, right? Okay. That's a significant amount of time, but in 1 week, how much were you really able to know about this person or get to know about this person. So number of dates and elapsed time don't necessarily matter. What really matters is how much have you gotten to know the person. That's the gauge. If you feel you know enough about this person that you can trust them and you feel safe with them and you feel like this is a good decision, then, I say that's a green light. Now, for some people, that can be very, very quickly because maybe you've known this person for years beforehand, right? So you know sort of who they are. You've already have a level of trust established. Great, no problem. But for others, you just met online dating like this week, and it's like, who is this person? How much do you know about them, right? So don't have sex right away. Take the time to get to know this person and establish some trust. Next is make sure you talk about what you are looking for in a relationship up front early on. You have to make it known that this is what I am looking for. If you don't speak that right away and he's not aware of it, he might think, well, yeah, she's cool. She's down. She just wants to hang and have fun and whatever, right? You need to let him know right away if you are looking for a relationship that that's what you want. You say, I am looking for a long-term committed relationship. Or if you're maybe a little older, I am dating with the intent of finding my husband, somebody I can settle down with, whatever it is, you got to be upfront with that. And next, don't ignore the red flags. The red flags are there. We all just tend to overlook them in the beginning because all the feel-good chemicals are flowing. And they're like, oh my God, this person's amazing. And the chemicals are flowing and they can do no wrong. And oh my God, this is great. Don't allow yourself to get caught up in that. Pay attention to the red flags. Now, there is a fine line there. What I don't want anybody doing, man or woman, is being so critical and falling victim to the negativity bias of always looking for all the things that could possibly go wrong. I don't want you to do that. But when legitimate red flags do present themselves, you need to pay attention to them. If you are doing those things, the chances of you ending up getting stuck in the fun girl box are significantly reduced. And if you're not in the box to begin with, you don't have to try to get out of the box. But let's say maybe you didn't do those things beforehand and you realize that, I'm in the fun girl box, but I don't want to just be the fun girl. I want to be his main girl. What are some things that you could possibly do to help get out of that box? Number one, you need to tell him how you feel. You need to communicate it. Don't assume that he knows, right? The whole, he should just know that's how I feel. No, forget it. You need to let him know exactly how you feel. Next, let him know that you'll still be the fun girl in the ways that you are fun, even if you are in a committed relationship. There are still a lot of men out there who feel like once you get into a committed relationship, that's it, it's all over. She's no longer the fun girl anymore. If that's who you truly are, if you are being yourself in the relationship and you're showing up as your authentic self, let him know that that's not going to change just because you have gotten into a committed relationship. I will also say this though, however, ladies, one of the reasons men have that fear is because a lot of you do suddenly change your expectations when you get into a committed relationship. You're okay with him living, his life the way he is and being who he is until there's a commitment. And then suddenly you're like, well, now that we're committed or now that we're engaged or now that we're married, it's like, I don't want you hanging out all night with your boys. I don't want you doing golf, days on the weekends, or you shouldn't do this, or That's why men get in this like, oh my God, what happens if I commit? I'm going to lose, all of this stuff. You can't do that. You just can't do it. You need to accept him for who he is, and you need to make space for, parts of his life that existed before you came along. And if you do that, and if you're being your authentic self, then there shouldn't be a problem when you commit. And so you want to make sure that you let him know that, when you do commit to each other, you're not going to suddenly change all the expectations and become a different person or, Stop being the fun girl. Next is ask him what he needs to commit to you. Sometimes it might just be something really simple, and sometimes it might not be. But if you don't have that conversation, then you will never know. So it's important to sit down with him and say, I would like some more commitment in this relationship because you are somebody that I love and care about and I want to create a future with. But it seems to me that there might be some things in the way of really committing to this relationship. And I just want to know, what do you need? What would make you feel safe enough to commit to this relationship? It's an important conversation to have. Next is don't pressure him, especially when having that conversation. Do not pressure him. Do not lay down ultimatums. Ultimatums in relationships are death to relationships. Do not do it. Don't do if we're not X by X, ever in a relationship. Don't pressure him. Let him know what it is that you're looking for, what it is that you want, right? Clearly express that to him and why that's important to you. And, see if you are seeing progress or change, or at least an openness to it. Next is to set boundaries. So you want to make sure that you set clear boundaries. I have a feeling that the first thing you're thinking is, yes, a very clear boundary would be, if we're not by X, then not what I'm talking about here. Right? Setting clear boundaries about what it is you want or need in the relationship. What is important to you? What is a deal breaker? What is not a deal breaker? That's what I'm talking about. But you have to do so in a way that is emotionally mature, kind, compassionate, not in a way that is blaming, shaming, or anything like that. And lastly, you need to be prepared to move on if it seems like you're never going to get out of the fun girl box. If what you want is more commitment and you've tried everything and you're not getting it, you need to be prepared to move on. I say this and I want to make sure that you've given it your due diligence, right? That you aren't just cutting and running because you're not getting what you want immediately, which is what a lot of people unfortunately do these days. Take the time to work on it. Put in the effort. Ask for what you want. Clearly express things, right? Give it some time. Demonstrate to him that you are trustworthy and worthy of being the main girl. And if you're doing all of those things and you are not seeing any change, then you need to be prepared for the possibility that this isn't the right relationship, that you're not going to get out of the fun girl box. And it's time to move on and find somebody that is willing to commit to you. Well, there you go. I hope that you found that helpful. If you feel like you are stuck in the fun girl zone, try some of these things out and see if they work for you. And as always, if you want to know more about my work, please go to kevinanthonycoaching.com/link in bio, which is my link tree, which has links to all of the things that I am up to. My coaching programs, media appearances, podcasts, videos, products that I sell, and so much more. It is all right there.